Hello and welcome back to English in Fluency, the channel where we help you build real, natural listening skills for everyday English. I'm Alex, and I am so glad you're here with me today. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. And if you're one of our regular listeners, welcome back. It's always great to have you here. Today we're doing something a little different, and I think you're going to love it. We're going to focus completely on listening practice at the B1 level, which means intermediate English. And we're going to work through 3 real-life situations that almost every English learner needs. We're going to talk about travel. We're going to talk about work. And we're going to talk about daily life. By the end of this video, you'll have heard 6 full conversations. You'll have learned dozens of useful phrases, and you'll have practiced speaking out loud with me several times. So, grab a coffee or a cup of tea. Find a comfortable spot, and let's get started. Before we dive into the conversations, let me explain quickly what B1 level actually means. Just so we're all on the same page, B1 is considered an intermediate level of English. If you're at this level, it means you can understand the main points of clear, standard speech on familiar topics, things like work, school, leisure, and so on. You can also deal with most situations that come up while traveling in an English-speaking area. You can produce simple, connected text on topics that are familiar or of personal interest. And you can describe experiences, events, dreams, hopes, and ambitions, and briefly give reasons for your opinions and plans. If that sounds like you, then you are exactly where you need to be right now. This lesson is designed specifically for you. Now, here's how we're going to work through today's lesson. For each conversation, I'll first play the dialogue for you at a natural speaking speed, the way people really talk in real life. Then, I'll break it down piece by piece, explaining the vocabulary, the expressions, and the grammar that native speakers use without even thinking about it. After that, I'll ask you a few comprehension questions, just like a real listening test. So pause the video if you need a moment to think about your answer. And finally, I'll give you a chance to repeat key phrases out loud with me, because listening alone isn't enough. You need to activate your speaking muscles too. This combination of listening, understanding, and speaking is what really builds fluency over time. So let's not waste another second. Let's jump right into our first conversation, which is all about travel. Imagine you've just landed at the airport in a new country, and you need to get through the process of arriving, finding transportation, and checking into your hotel. This is one of the most common situations English learners face, and it can feel stressful if you're not prepared. So let's listen to a conversation between a traveler named Sarah and an airport information desk worker named Mark. Listen carefully the first time, just to get the general idea. Don't worry if you miss a word or two. Sarah says, "Excuse me, could you help me? I just arrived and I'm not sure how to get to the city center." Mark replies, "Of course, no problem at all. Are you looking to take a taxi, a bus, or maybe the train?" Sarah says, I'm not sure. What would you recommend?" Mark answers, "Well, it depends on your budget and how much luggage you have. The train is the fastest option. It takes about 25 minutes and it's pretty cheap. The bus takes around 45 minutes, but it's even cheaper. And a taxi would be the most comfortable, especially if you have a lot of bags. But it's also the most expensive. Sarah says, I think I'll take the train then. That sounds perfect. Where can I buy a ticket? Mark says, you can buy one right over there, at that machine near the entrance. Or you can buy it from the ticket counter if you'd rather talk to a person. Sarah says, great. Thank you so much for your help. One more question. Do you know if my hotel is near the train station? Mark asks. What's the name of your hotel? Sarah answers. It's called the Riverside Inn. Mark says, oh yes. That's actually just a 10-minute walk from the main train station downtown. You'll have no trouble finding it. Sarah says, that's wonderful news. Thank you again. Mark replies, you're very welcome. Enjoy your stay, and have a safe trip into the city. Okay, let's break that conversation down together. First, notice how Sarah opens the conversation. She says, excuse me, could you help me? This is a very polite and very common way to start a conversation with a stranger, especially when you need assistance. You could also say, excuse me, I wonder if you could help me, which is slightly more formal. Or you could simply say, sorry to bother you. Could I ask you something? All three of these are natural, polite ways to approach someone for help. Let's practice that phrase together. Repeat after me. Excuse me. Could you help me? Good. Now try the more formal version. Excuse me. I wonder if you could help me. Nicely done. Next, notice the phrase Mark uses. Are you looking to take a taxi, a bus, or maybe the train? The expression "are you looking to" is a really useful way of asking about someone's plans or intentions in a soft, conversational way. It's less direct than simply asking, what do you want to do? It sounds more natural and more polite. You'll hear native speakers use this constantly in questions like, are you looking to buy a house soon? Or, are you looking to change careers? Let's practice. Repeat after me. Are you looking to take a taxi, a bus, or the train? Great job. Now try this one. Are you looking to buy something specific? Now, let's look at how Mark compares the three options: the train, the bus, and the taxi. Pay close attention to the comparative language he uses. He says the train is the fastest option, the bus is even cheaper, and the taxi is the most comfortable, but also the most expensive. This is a perfect real-world example of comparative and superlative adjectives, which is a very important grammar point at the B1 level. Remember, for short adjectives, we usually add ER for the comparative form, like fast becomes faster, and we add EST for the superlative, like fast becomes the fastest. For adjectives with 3 or more syllables, like expensive or comfortable, we use more and the most instead. So we say more expensive. And the most expensive, we say more comfortable. And the most comfortable. Let's practice these forms together. Repeat after me. The train is fast. The bus is faster. But the plane is the fastest. Nicely done. Now try this one. This hotel is expensive. That one is more expensive. But the resort is the most expensive. Let's continue looking at our conversation. Sarah asks, where can I buy a ticket? This is a simple but essential question you'll need constantly while traveling. You could also ask, where can I get a ticket? Or, where's the ticket counter? Or even, do I need to buy a ticket in advance? Let's repeat this together. Repeat after me. Where can I buy a ticket? Good. One more time. A little faster. Where can I buy a ticket? Now notice how Mark answers using two options, joined by the word or. He says, you can buy one right over there, at that machine near the entrance, or you can buy it from the ticket counter if you'd rather talk to a person. The phrase "if you'd rather" is extremely useful in English. It means if you prefer to. You could say, we can eat at home, or we can go out. If you'd rather. Or, I can explain it again slowly. If you'd rather. This structure shows respect for the other person's preference, and it sounds very natural and polite. Let's practice it. Repeat after me. You can pay by card or by cash, if you'd rather. Excellent. Toward the end of the conversation, Sarah asks about her hotel's location, and Mark reassures her by saying, that's actually just a 10-minute walk from the main train station. This kind of phrase, a 10-minute walk, or a 5-minute drive, or a 2-hour flight, is what we call a compound adjective. And it's incredibly common in everyday English when talking about distance and time. Notice that when we use it before a noun like this, the words minute, hour, and so on stay singular. We don't say a 10 minutes walk. We say a 10-minute walk. Let's practice this pattern together. Repeat after me. It's a 10-minute walk from here. Now try. It's a 2-hour drive to the coast. And one more. It's a 5-minute train ride to downtown. Now, before we move to the comprehension questions, let's quickly recap the key vocabulary from this conversation. We had budget, which means the amount of money you have available to spend. We had luggage, which refers to your bags and suitcases when you travel. We had ticket counter, which is the desk where you can buy tickets in person. And we had downtown, which is an American English term referring to the central business area of a city in British English. People often say city center instead, spelled C-E-N-T-E-R-E. But in American English, we spell it center, C-E-N-T-E-R, and we usually say downtown for this concept. Let's repeat these 4 words together. Slowly. Repeat after me. Budget. Repeat after me. Luggage. Repeat after me. Ticket counter. Repeat after me. Downtown. Now let's test your comprehension with a few questions, based on the conversation we just heard. Pause the video if you need extra time to think. Question number 1. How long does the train journey take to the city center? Think about your answer for a moment. The correct answer is 25 minutes. Question number 2. Why does Mark say a taxi might be a good option for some travelers? Think about it. The correct answer is because it's more comfortable, especially if you have a lot of luggage. Question number 3. How far is Sarah's hotel from the train station? Take a second to remember. The correct answer is a 10-minute walk. If you got all 3 questions right, congratulations. Your listening comprehension is really improving. If you missed 1 or 2, don't worry at all. That's completely normal. You can always go back and listen to the conversation one more time. All right, let's move on to our second travel conversation. This time about checking into a hotel. This is another situation you'll face constantly when traveling. So let's listen carefully. In this conversation, we have a traveler named James and a hotel receptionist named Lisa. James says, "Hi there. I have a reservation under the name James Whitfield." Lisa replies, "Let me just check that for you. One moment, please. Yes, here it is." a single room for 3 nights. Is that correct? James answers, That's right, though I was actually hoping to upgrade to a double room. Is that possible? Lisa says, Let me check availability. Yes, actually, we do have a double room available, and the upgrade would cost an extra $20 per night. Would you like to go ahead with that? James says. Yes, please. That sounds great. Lisa continues. Wonderful. I'll just need your passport and a credit card for the deposit. James hands them over and says, Here you go. Lisa says, Thank you. Everything looks good. Your room is on the 4th floor. Room 412. Breakfast is served from 7 to 10 in the morning. In the restaurant on the ground floor. Would you like a wake-up call at any point during your stay? James replies, Actually, yes. Could I get one at 7:30 tomorrow morning? I have an early meeting. Lisa says, Of course. I'll note that down. Here's your key card, and here's a map of the local area in case you'd like to explore. Is there anything else I can help you with? James answers, Actually, one more thing. Is there a gym in the hotel? Lisa says. Yes, it's on the 2nd floor. It's open 24 hours a day. James says, Perfect. Thank you so much for your help. Lisa replies, You're very welcome. Enjoy your stay with us. Let's break this conversation down piece by piece. First, notice how James introduces himself at the front desk. He says, Hi there. I have a reservation under the name James Whitfield. The phrase under the name is essential when you're checking in anywhere, whether it's a hotel, a restaurant, or even picking up tickets for an event. Let's practice it together. Repeat after me. I have a reservation under the name. And then you would say your own name. Try it now with your own name in the pause. Next, notice how James politely asks for an upgrade. He says, I was actually hoping to upgrade to a double room. Is that possible? The structure I was hoping to is a wonderfully soft, polite way of making a request in English. It sounds much gentler than simply saying, I want, or give me. Compare the difference between give me a bigger room, which sounds quite rude, and I was hoping to upgrade to a bigger room. Is that possible? Which sounds polite and reasonable. Let's practice this structure. Repeat after me. I was hoping to upgrade my room. Is that possible? Great. Now try. I was hoping to get a discount. Is that possible? Nicely done. Now, let's look at Lisa's response. Would you like to go ahead with that? This phrase, to go ahead with something, means to proceed with a plan or a decision. It's very common in customer service situations, in business meetings, and in everyday conversations. You might hear, Shall we go ahead with the project? Or, Are you ready to go ahead with the purchase? Let's practice. Repeat after me. Would you like to go ahead with that? One more time. A bit faster. Would you like to go ahead with that? Let's also look closely at how times are expressed in this conversation. Lisa says, Breakfast is served from 7 to 10 in the morning. This from and to structure is the standard way to describe a time range in English. We could also say, Breakfast is available between 7 and 10. Both are correct and commonly used. Let's practice a few examples together. Repeat after me. The pool is open from 9 to 6. Now try. The gym is open from 6 in the morning until 11 at night. And one more. Checkout time is from 10 to 12. James then asks for a wake-up call, saying, "Could I get one at 7:30 tomorrow morning?" This is a perfect example of a polite request using "could I get." This structure is extremely useful and extremely common in English, especially in service situations like hotels, restaurants, and shops. Compare it to a more direct and less polite version. "Give me a wake-up call at 7:30, which again sounds a bit rude. The polite version, "Could I get," softens the request significantly. Let's practice it together. Repeat after me. "Could I get a wake-up call at 7? Now try. "Could I get an extra towel, please?" And one more. "Could I get a late checkout, if that's possible?" Toward the end of the conversation, James asks, "Is there a gym in the hotel?" This simple structure, "Is there a," followed by a noun, is one of the most useful questions you can learn for travel. You can use it to ask about almost anything. Is there a pharmacy nearby? Is there parking available? Is there a shuttle bus to the airport? Let's practice this pattern several times. Repeat after me. Is there a gym in the hotel? Repeat after me. Is there a restaurant nearby? Repeat after me. Is there parking available here? Wonderful work. Let's quickly review the vocabulary from this conversation. We had reservation, meaning an arrangement made in advance to have a room, table, or seat held for you. We had deposit, which means a sum of money paid in advance as a guarantee. We had wake-up call, which is a phone call from the hotel to wake a guest at a requested time. And we had ground floor, which in American English is often simply called the first floor. But in British English, the ground floor and the first floor are actually two different levels. So it's worth remembering that difference when you travel to different English-speaking countries. Let's repeat the vocabulary together. Repeat after me. Reservation. Repeat after me. Deposit. Repeat after me. Wake-up call. Repeat after me. Ground floor. Now for our comprehension questions on this second conversation. Question number 1. How many nights did James originally reserve his room for? Think for a moment. The answer is 3 nights. Question number 2. How much extra does the room upgrade cost per night? Take a second. The answer is $20 per night. Question number 3. What time does James want his wake-up call? Think about it. The answer is 7:30 in the morning. And question number 4. On which floor is the hotel gym located? One more moment to think. The answer is the second floor. Great work if you got these right. And if not, feel free to listen again. Repetition really is the secret to strong listening skills. Now, let's move into our second major section of today's lesson, which focuses on work and professional English. This is such an important area because so many of our viewers use English at their jobs, in meetings, on phone calls, and in emails. So, let's dive into our first workplace conversation. A phone call between a colleague named Rachel and her co-worker Tom. Discussing a project deadline. Rachel says, "Hey Tom, do you have a minute to talk about the Peterson project?" Tom replies, "Sure. What's going on?" Rachel says, "Well, I just got an email from the client, and they've moved the deadline up to next Friday instead of the following Monday." Tom responds, "Wait, seriously, that only gives us 4 extra days." "That's going to be tight," Rachel says. "I know. I was pretty surprised, too. Do you think we can still pull it off?" Tom answers, "Honestly, It depends on how quickly the design team can finish their part. Have you talked to them yet? Rachel replies. Not yet. I wanted to check with you first before I said anything to them. Tom says, Okay, let's set up a quick call with the whole team this afternoon so we can figure out a plan together. Rachel agrees. That sounds like a good idea. What time works for you? Tom answers, How about 3 o'clock? Rachel says, 3 works for me. I'll send out a calendar invite right now. Tom adds, Great. And maybe we should also let the client know we're on it, just so they feel confident we're handling the change. Well, Rachel replies, Good thinking. I'll draft a quick reply to them after our call. Tom says, Perfect. Talk soon then. Rachel finishes, Sounds good. Talk soon. Let's break this conversation down. First, Rachel opens with, Do you have a minute to talk about the Peterson project? This phrase, Do you have a minute, is one of the most common and useful workplace expressions in English. It's a polite way of asking for someone's time without demanding it. You could also say, Do you have a second? Or, Could I grab you for a moment? Let's practice. Repeat after me. Do you have a minute to talk? Good. Now try. Could I grab you for a second? Next, notice the phrase Tom uses, That's going to be tight. In this context, tight doesn't mean physically tight, like clothing. It means that there won't be much extra time or space to complete something. The schedule is very limited. This is a really common way native speakers talk about deadlines and schedules. You might hear, Our budget is tight this month, or The schedule is really tight this week. Let's practice this expression. Repeat after me. That deadline is going to be tight. Now try. Our schedule is pretty tight today. Now let's look at the phrase, pull it off, which Rachel uses when she asks, Do you think we can still pull it off? To pull something off means to successfully achieve something difficult, especially under pressure or against expectations. This is an extremely natural, commonly used phrasal verb in spoken English. And it's great to add to your vocabulary because it makes you sound much more fluent and native-like. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Do you think we can pull it off? Now try. I can't believe they actually pulled it off. And one more. We need a good plan if we want to pull this off. Let's also examine the phrase, set up a quick call, which Tom uses. To set something up in a business context means to organize or arrange it. You'll hear this constantly at work. Phrases like, Let's set up a meeting, or Can you set up a call with the client? Or, I'll set up the projector for the presentation. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. Let's set up a quick call this afternoon. Now try, Can you set up a meeting for tomorrow? Notice also how naturally the characters schedule their meeting. Rachel asks, What time works for you? And Tom answers, How about 3 o'clock? This is a very natural, everyday way to arrange a time with someone. Much more casual than saying, What time would be convenient for you? Which is also correct but sounds more formal. Let's practice both versions. Repeat after me. The casual version first. What time works for you? Now, the more formal version. What time would be convenient for you? Finally, notice the phrase Tom uses near the end. We're on it. This is a short, punchy expression that means we are already dealing with something. We have it under control. It's incredibly common in workplace English, and it sounds confident and reassuring. You might hear a manager ask, Has anyone looked into this issue yet? And an employee reply, yes, we're on it. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Don't worry. We're on it. Now try. Yes, sir. We're already on it. Let's review the key vocabulary from this conversation. We had deadline, meaning the latest time or date by which something must be completed. We had calendar invite, which refers to a digital invitation sent to schedule a meeting, usually through an email or scheduling app. We had draft, which as a verb means to write a preliminary or rough version of something, like an email or a document. And we had handling, which in this context means dealing with or managing a situation. Let's repeat these together. Repeat after me. Deadline. Repeat after me. Calendar invite. Repeat after me. Draft. Repeat after me. Handling. Now, let's test your comprehension with this conversation. Question number 1. What project are Rachel and Tom discussing? Think about it. The answer is the Peterson Project. Question number 2. How many extra days does the new deadline give the team, compared to the deadline they expected? Take a moment. The answer is 4 extra days. Question number 3. What time do Rachel and Tom decide to have their team call? Think carefully. The answer is 3 o'clock. And question number 4. What does Rachel say she will do after the team call? One more moment. The answer is she will draft a quick reply to the client. Excellent work, if you got these correct. Now let's move to our second work-related conversation. This time, set in a job interview, which is another extremely common and important situation for English learners to master. In this conversation, we have an interviewer named Patricia and a job candidate named Daniel. Patricia says, "Thanks for coming in today. Daniel, please, have a seat." Daniel replies, "Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited to be here." Patricia begins, "So, why don't you start by telling me a little bit about yourself and your background?" Daniel answers, "Sure. So I graduated with a degree in marketing about 3 years ago. And since then, I've been working at a small advertising agency, mainly focusing on social media campaigns for local businesses." Patricia asks, "That's great. What would you say has been your biggest achievement in that role?" Daniel responds, "Honestly, I'd say it was a campaign I ran last year for a local restaurant chain. We increased their online engagement by over 60% in just 2 months, and it actually led to a real increase in their foot traffic too." Patricia says, "Wow, that's impressive. What do you think made that campaign so successful?" Daniel answers, "I think it was really about understanding the audience deeply. We spent a lot of time researching what their customers actually cared about before we created any content." Patricia nods and asks, "And why are you interested in leaving your current position?" Daniel replies, "Well, I've really enjoyed my time there, and I've learned a lot. But I feel like I'm ready for a bigger challenge, somewhere I can grow my skills further and take on more responsibility." Patricia says, "That makes a lot of sense. Do you have any questions for me at this point?" Daniel answers, "Yes. Actually, I'd love to know more about the team I'd be working with and what a typical day might look like in this role." Patricia says, "Of course. Let me walk you through that. Let's break this interview conversation down carefully, because job interviews are such a critical skill to master in English. First, Notice how Patricia opens the interview. Thanks for coming in today. Daniel, please, have a seat. This is a very standard, polite way to begin any interview or formal meeting. And Daniel's response. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited to be here, is a perfect example of a warm, professional response. Let's practice both sides of this exchange. Repeat after me. Thank you very much for having me. Now try. I'm really excited to be here. Next, notice the very common interview opener. Why don't you start by telling me a little bit about yourself? This is probably the single most common interview question in English-speaking workplaces, and it's worth preparing a strong answer in advance. Notice the structure. Why don't you, which is a soft, friendly way of giving an instruction or making a suggestion, much gentler than simply saying, "Tell me about yourself." Let's practice this structure. Repeat after me. Why don't you tell me about your background? Now try. Why don't you start with your education? Now, let's look at Daniel's answer, particularly the phrase, "Since then, I've been working at a small advertising agency." Notice the verb tense here. I've been working, which is the present perfect continuous tense. We use this tense to describe an action that started in the past and continues into the present, especially when we want to emphasize the duration or the ongoing nature of the action. This is a very important grammar point at the B1 level. Compare it to the simple past. I worked at an agency, which suggests the action is finished, versus I've been working at an agency, which suggests it's still happening now. Let's practice this tense together. Repeat after me. I've been working here for 3 years. Now try. I've been studying English for 2 years. And one more. She's been living in this city since 2020. Let's also look at the phrase Patricia uses. What would you say has been your biggest achievement? Notice the structure. What would you say, which is a softer, more thoughtful way of asking someone's opinion compared to a more direct question like, what is your biggest achievement? The conditional structure, would you say, makes the question sound more reflective and open-ended. Let's practice. Repeat after me. What would you say is your biggest strength? Now try. What would you say was the most difficult part of the project? Now notice the very natural way Daniel explains his results. We increased their online engagement by over 60% in just 2 months. This structure, using increased by plus a percentage, is extremely useful for describing results and achievements, especially in job interviews and professional contexts. Let's practice. Repeat after me. We increased sales by 20%. Now try. We reduced costs by 15% this year. Toward the end of the conversation, Daniel explains why he's leaving his job. I feel like I'm ready for a bigger challenge. Somewhere I can grow my skills further and take on more responsibility. The phrasal verb take on, in this context, means to accept or begin to have a responsibility or task. It's very commonly used at work, in phrases like, she took on a new project, or he's taken on more responsibilities this year. Let's practice. Repeat after me. I want to take on more responsibility. Now, try. He's taken on a new role next month. Finally, notice how the interview closes with Patricia asking, do you have any questions for me at this point? This is an extremely common closing question in interviews, and it's actually very important to always have a question ready, because it shows genuine interest in the position. Daniel's response, "I'd love to know more about the team I'd be working with," is a great example of a thoughtful, professional question to ask an interviewer. Let's practice this closing exchange. Repeat after me. Do you have any questions for me? Now try, "I'd love to know more about the team." Let's review the vocabulary from this interview conversation. We had background, meaning a person's experience, education, and history. We had campaign, which refers to a series of planned actions to achieve a particular goal, especially in marketing or politics. We had engagement, which in a marketing context refers to how much people interact with content through likes, comments, shares, and so on. And we had foot traffic, which means the number of people physically visiting a store or business location. Let's repeat these words together. Repeat after me. Background. Repeat after me. Campaign. Repeat after me. Engagement. Repeat after me. Foot traffic. Now for our comprehension questions on the interview conversation. Question number 1. What degree did Daniel graduate with? Think for a moment. The answer is a degree in marketing. Question number 2. By how much did Daniel's campaign increase online engagement? Take a second to recall. The answer is over 60%. Question number 3. Why does Daniel say he wants to leave his current job? Think carefully. The answer is because he wants a bigger challenge, and he wants to grow his skills and take on more responsibility. And question number 4. What does Daniel ask Patricia about at the end of the interview? One more moment. The answer is he asks about the team he'd be working with, and what a typical day looks like in the role. Wonderful! If you got most or all of these right, you're doing fantastic. Your comprehension skills are clearly developing well. Now, let's move into our third and final section of today's lesson, which covers daily life conversations, the kind of English you use constantly in ordinary, everyday situations, at the grocery store, with friends, at home, and out in your neighborhood. Let's begin with a conversation between two friends, Emma and Sophie, who are planning a weekend get-together. Emma says, "Hey, Sophie, are you free this weekend? I was thinking we could finally do that hike we've been talking about." Sophie replies, "Oh, that sounds great. Actually, I think I'm free on Saturday, but I have a family lunch on Sunday." Emma says, "Saturday works perfectly for me too." "What time should we meet?" Sophie answers, "How about we leave around 8 in the morning? That way we can beat the heat and avoid the crowds." Emma agrees. "That makes sense. 8 it is then. Should we bring our own lunch? Or is there somewhere to eat along the trail?" Sophie replies, "I think it's better if we pack something. There isn't really anywhere to buy food once we're on the trail." Emma says, "Good point. I'll make some sandwiches. Do you want anything specific?" Sophie answers, "Honestly, whatever you make is fine with me. I'm not picky at all." Emma laughs and says, "Okay, sandwiches. It is then. Should I pick you up? Or do you want to meet somewhere?" Sophie replies, "Why don't you just come by my place around 7:30? That way, we have plenty of time before we start hiking." Emma agrees. "Sounds perfect. I'll see you then." Oh, and one more thing. Should we bring extra water? I heard it's supposed to be pretty warm this weekend. Sophie says, definitely. Better safe than sorry. Let's each bring at least 2 bottles. Let's break this friendly conversation down together. First, notice the very casual, natural opener. Hey, Sophie, are you free this weekend? This is one of the most common ways to start a conversation about making plans with a friend in English. It's casual, direct, and friendly. Let's practice it. Repeat after me. Are you free this weekend? Now try. Are you busy on Saturday? Next, notice the phrase Sophie uses. That way we can beat the heat and avoid the crowds. The phrasal expression beat the heat is a lovely, very natural English idiom that means to avoid the worst effects of hot weather, usually by doing something early in the day or finding a cool place. Let's practice this idiom. Repeat after me. Let's leave early to beat the heat. Now try. We went swimming to beat the heat yesterday. Now let's look at the phrase, good point, which Emma uses in response to Sophie's suggestion about food. This is an extremely useful, extremely common expression in conversational English, used to agree with or acknowledge someone's valid observation or argument. It's short, natural, and you'll hear it constantly in everyday conversations, meetings, and discussions. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Good point. I hadn't thought of that. Now try. That's a good point. Let's do that instead. Let's also examine Sophie's response. Whatever you make is fine with me. I'm not picky at all. The word picky is a really useful, informal adjective that means being very selective, especially about food, and often in a slightly negative or fussy way. Saying I'm not picky means you're easygoing and flexible about choices. Let's practice this word. Repeat after me. I'm not picky. Anything is fine. Now try. She's really picky about what she eats. Now notice the phrase, why don't you just come by my place, which Sophie uses to invite Emma over. The phrasal verb come by means to visit briefly, or to stop somewhere on the way to another place. It's a very common, casual way to invite someone to your home, or to ask someone to stop somewhere. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Why don't you come by my place around 7? Now try. I'll come by your office later today. Finally, let's look at the expression Sophie uses at the very end. Better safe than sorry. This is a well-known English proverb, meaning it's wiser to be cautious and prepared, even if it seems unnecessary, rather than to take a risk and regret it later. This phrase is used constantly in everyday English conversations, especially when talking about precautions, safety, or planning ahead. Let's practice this expression together. Repeat after me. Let's bring an umbrella. Better safe than sorry. Now try. I always double-check my work. Better safe than sorry. Let's review the vocabulary from this conversation. We had trail, meaning a path or route, especially one used for hiking or walking in nature. We had crowds, which refers to large groups of people gathered together in one place. We had pack, which as a verb in this context means to prepare and bring food or items with you. And we had picky, which we already discussed, meaning overly selective or fussy, especially about food or choices. Let's repeat these together. Repeat after me, trail. Repeat after me, crowds. Repeat after me, pack. Repeat after me, picky. Now let's check your comprehension of this conversation. Question number 1. On which day do Emma and Sophie decide to go hiking? Take a moment to think. The answer is Saturday. Question number 2. Why do they decide to leave early, at 8 in the morning? Think carefully. The answer is to beat the heat and avoid the crowds. Question number 3. Who is making the sandwiches for the hike? One more moment. The answer is Emma. And question number 4. What time is Emma coming to pick up Sophie? Think about it. The answer is 7:30 in the morning. Great job if you got these correct. You're really building strong listening habits. Now, let's move to our final conversation of the day. A daily life situation set at a grocery store between a customer named Ben and a store employee named Grace. This kind of conversation happens constantly in real life, so it's incredibly useful to practice. Ben says, "Excuse me, I'm looking for whole wheat flour. Do you know which aisle that would be in?" Grace replies, "Sure, that would be in aisle 6, right next to the other baking supplies." Ben says, "Great, thank you. Actually, while I have you here, do you happen to know if you carry almond milk?" Grace answers, "Yes, we do. You'll find that in the dairy section, aisle 9. Though technically it's not dairy, but that's where we keep all the milk alternatives." Ben says, "That makes sense. Thanks. One more question. Is there a limit on how many of the discounted items I can buy? I saw the sale on canned soup." Grace replies, "No limit at all. Actually, buy as many as you'd like. The sale runs until the end of the week." Ben says, "Perfect. I might stock up then. My family goes through a lot of soup in the winter." Grace laughs and says, "That's smart. It's a really good deal this week. Is there anything else I can help you find?" Ben answers, "Actually, yes. I can't seem to find the spice aisle anywhere." Grace says, "Ah, that's a common one. It's tucked away in aisle 4, between the pasta and the canned vegetables. A lot of customers miss it." Ben says, "That explains it. I definitely walked right past it." "Thanks so much for all your help." Grace replies, "Of course. No problem at all. Let me know if you need anything else while you're shopping." Let's break this grocery store conversation down. First, notice how Ben opens with, "Excuse me, I'm looking for whole wheat flour. Do you know which aisle that would be in?" This is a very practical, everyday phrase for asking for help finding an item in a store. The structure "I'm looking for," followed by an item, is extremely useful and can be applied to almost any shopping situation. Let's practice. Repeat after me. "Excuse me, I'm looking for whole wheat flour." Now try, "Excuse me, I'm looking for the cereal aisle." Next, notice the phrase Ben uses, "While I have you here." This is a very natural, conversational way of adding an extra question or request while you're already talking to someone, especially when you don't want to interrupt them again later. It's a great phrase for sounding more fluent and natural in everyday conversations. Let's practice. Repeat after me. "While I have you here. Can I ask one more thing?" Now try. "While I have you here, do you know what time you close tonight?" Now let's look at the phrase milk alternatives, which Grace uses to describe almond milk. This is a really useful, modern vocabulary term referring to plant-based substitutes for dairy milk, like almond milk, soy milk, oat milk, and so on. This kind of vocabulary is increasingly common in everyday English, especially around food and health topics. Let's practice. Repeat after me. They have several milk alternatives here. Now try. I switched to a milk alternative last year. Let's also examine the phrase stock up, which Ben uses when he says, I might stock up then. To stock up means to buy a large quantity of something, usually because it's on sale, or because you expect to need it later. This is an extremely common and useful phrasal verb, especially in conversations about shopping and preparing for the future. Let's practice. Repeat after me. I want to stock up on canned soup. Now try. We stocked up on snacks before the trip. Now, notice the expression Grace uses. That's a common one, referring to how many customers miss the spice aisle. This phrase, that's a common one, is a natural, friendly way of acknowledging that a particular mistake, question, or problem happens often. It's a great expression to add to your everyday conversational English. Let's practice. Repeat after me. That's a common mistake. Don't worry about it. Now, try. That's a common question. A lot of people ask that. Finally, let's look at the phrase Ben uses. That explains it. This short, simple phrase is used to show understanding after receiving new information that clarifies something confusing. It's incredibly common in everyday English, and it's a great, natural-sounding way to respond when something suddenly makes sense. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Oh, that explains it. Now try. That explains why I couldn't find it. Let's review the vocabulary from this final conversation. We had aisle, meaning a passage between rows of shelves in a store. We had dairy section, referring to the part of the grocery store where milk, cheese, and similar products are sold. We had discounted, meaning reduced in price, on sale, and we had tucked away, which means hidden or placed in a location that's not easy to notice or find. Let's repeat these together. Repeat after me. Aisle. Repeat after me. Dairy section. Repeat after me. Discounted. Repeat after me. Tucked away. Now, for our final set of comprehension questions. Question number 1. Which aisle is the whole wheat flour located in? Think for a moment. The answer is aisle 6. Question number 2. Where can Ben find almond milk? Take a second. The answer is aisle 9, in the dairy section. Question number 3. Is there a limit on how many discounted cans of soup Ben can buy? Think carefully. The answer is no. There's no limit at all. And question number 4. Where is the spice aisle located? One last moment to think. The answer is aisle 4, between the pasta and the canned vegetables. Fantastic work, if you got these right. That brings us to the end of our 6 conversations for today. Before we move into our review, I want to give you 2 bonus conversations. Just a little extra practice, because I know a lot of you enjoy pushing yourselves a bit further. Let's start with one more travel situation. This time about renting a car, and then we'll finish with one more daily life situation. A visit to the doctor's office. Both of these come up constantly in real life. So, let's make sure you're ready for them too. In this next conversation, we have a traveler named Olivia and a rental car agent named Marcus at a car rental counter. Olivia says, "Hi, I have a reservation for a compact car under the name Olivia Chen." Marcus replies, "Let me pull that up for you." "Yes, here it is. A 3-day rental, picking up today and returning on Thursday. Is that correct?" Olivia answers, "That's right." Marcus continues, "Great. Now, would you like to add any extra insurance coverage? It's optional, but it does give you full protection in case of any damage or accidents. Olivia asks, "How much would that cost?" Marcus replies, "It's an extra $15 a day. So for 3 days, that would come to $45 total." Olivia says, I think I'll go ahead and add that, just to be safe." Marcus says, "Smart choice. Better to be covered." Now, do you have your driver's license and the credit card you used for the booking? Olivia hands them over and says, "Here you go." Marcus checks them and says, "Perfect. Everything checks out. Your car is a silver sedan. It's parked in space 14, just outside the entrance. Here are your keys. Before you drive off, I'd recommend doing a quick walk around the car, just to check for any existing scratches or dents, and take a few photos if you notice anything. That way there's no confusion when you return it," Olivia says. "That's a really good idea. Thank you for the tip. One more question. Is there a fee if I return the car a little late?" Marcus answers, "Yes. There's a grace period of about 30 minutes. But after that, you'll be charged for an additional day. So try to return it on time if you can." Olivia says, "Got it. I'll make sure to plan around that. Thanks so much for your help today." Marcus replies, "You're very welcome. Drive safely, and enjoy the rest of your trip." Let's break this conversation down. First, notice how Marcus offers something extra. Would you like to add any extra insurance coverage? This structure, would you like to add, is a very common, polite way that service workers offer additional products or services, whether it's insurance, a warranty, or an upgrade. Let's practice it together. Repeat after me. Would you like to add insurance coverage? Now, try. Would you like to add extra luggage space? Next, notice the phrase Olivia uses, "I think I'll go ahead and add that," just to be safe. We already learned the phrase, "Go ahead with earlier today," and here we see a slightly different but related form. Go ahead and followed by a verb, which means to proceed with doing something, often after some thought or hesitation. Let's practice. Repeat after me. I'll go ahead and add that. Now try. Let's go ahead and book it now. Now let's look at the phrase, "Everything checks out," which Marcus uses after reviewing Olivia's documents. This expression means that everything has been reviewed and found to be correct or valid, with no problems. It's very commonly used in situations involving verification, whether it's checking documents, checking numbers, or checking facts. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Everything checks out. You're all set. Now try. I reviewed the report, and everything checks out. Let's also examine the phrase, walk around, as in, I'd recommend doing a quick walk around the car. In this context, a walk around means a brief inspection where you physically walk around an object, like a car or a piece of equipment, to check its condition. Let's practice this expression. Repeat after me. Let's do a quick walk around the car first. Now try. Always do a walk around before you sign anything. Finally, notice the phrase grace period, which Marcus uses to describe the extra 30 minutes Olivia has before being charged a late fee. A grace period is a set amount of extra time given before a penalty applies, and you'll hear this term used in many contexts, including rentals, payments, subscriptions, and bills. Let's practice. Repeat after me. There's a 30-minute grace period. Now try. The grace period for this payment is 5 days. Let's review the vocabulary from this conversation. We had compact car, meaning a small, fuel-efficient car. We had insurance coverage, referring to protection against financial loss, in this case from damage or accidents. We had sedan, which is a type of car with a separate trunk and 4 doors. And we had dents, meaning small hollow marks or damage on the surface of something, usually caused by an impact. Let's repeat these together. Repeat after me. Compact car. Repeat after me. Insurance coverage. Repeat after me. Sedan. Repeat after me. Dents. Now let's check your comprehension. Question number 1. How many days is Olivia renting the car for? Think for a moment. The answer is 3 days. Question number 2. How much does the extra insurance cost in total? Take a second. The answer is $45, which is $15 a day for 3 days. Question number 3. What does Marcus recommend Olivia do before driving off? Think carefully. The answer is to do a quick walk around the car and take photos of any existing damage. And question number 4. How long is the grace period for returning the car late? One more moment. The answer is 30 minutes. Wonderful. You're doing a fantastic job building your listening stamina. Now, let's finish with one final bonus conversation. Set at a doctor's office between a patient named Kevin and a receptionist named Denise, and then briefly with a nurse named Patricia. Kevin says, "Hi, I have an appointment at 2:30 with Dr. Alvarez." Denise replies, "Great. Can I get your name and date of birth, please?" Kevin answers, "Sure. It's Kevin Marsh, and my date of birth is March 14th, 1992. Denise says, "Thank you. Let me just pull up your file." "Okay. I see you here. Have any of your information changed since your last visit? Your address? Phone number? Or insurance?" Kevin replies, "Actually, yes. I recently moved, so my address has changed." Denise says, "No problem. Could you fill out this short form with your updated information?" Kevin answers, "Of course. No problem at all." A few minutes later, a nurse named Patricia calls Kevin's name. Patricia says, "Kevin, right this way, please." She continues, "So, what brings you in today?" Kevin answers, "I've had this nagging pain in my lower back for about 2 weeks now. It's not unbearable, but it's definitely uncomfortable. Especially when I sit for long periods." Patricia asks, "Does the pain radiate anywhere else? Like down your leg?" Kevin replies, "Sometimes, yeah. Occasionally I feel it down my right leg, too." Patricia says, "Okay, that's helpful to know. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the pain right now?" Kevin answers, "Right now, probably a 4, but it gets worse throughout the day." Patricia says, "Understood. I'm going to check your blood pressure and temperature quickly, and then the doctor will come in shortly to examine you further." Kevin replies, "Sounds good. Thank you." Let's break down this final conversation. First, notice how Kevin identifies himself. "I have an appointment at 2:30 with Dr. Alvarez." This simple structure is essential for any kind of appointment, whether medical, professional, or personal. Let's practice it. Repeat after me. "I have an appointment at 2:30. Now try. "I have an appointment with Dr. Alvarez." Next, notice the phrase Denise uses. Could you fill out this short form? The phrasal verb fill out means to complete a document by writing information in the blank spaces. and it's extremely common in offices, clinics, and any kind of administrative setting. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Could you fill out this form, please? Now try. I need you to fill out your contact information here. Now let's look at the phrase Patricia uses to begin the medical part of the visit. What brings you in today? This is the standard, natural way that doctors, nurses, and medical staff ask a patient about their reason for visiting. It sounds much more natural and warm than simply asking, "What's wrong with you?" which can sound blunt or even a little rude. Let's practice. Repeat after me. What brings you in today? Now try, imagining you are the patient answering, "I've had a pain in my back for 2 weeks." Let's also examine the word nagging, as in, "I've had this nagging pain in my lower back." Nagging, when describing pain or a problem, means persistent and annoying, something that continues to bother you over time without going away completely. It's a very natural, descriptive word that native speakers use often when talking about ongoing minor health issues. Let's practice. Repeat after me. I have a nagging headache today. Now try, there's a nagging pain in my shoulder. Now notice the phrase radiate, used when Patricia asks, does the pain radiate anywhere else, like down your leg? In a medical context, radiate means to spread outward from a central point. This is a really useful, specific vocabulary word for describing physical symptoms accurately. Let's practice. Repeat after me. The pain radiates down my leg. Now try. Does the pain radiate to your arm? Finally, let's look at the phrase on a scale of 1 to 10, which Patricia uses to ask Kevin to rate his pain. This is an extremely common phrase in medical settings, but it's also used in many other contexts too, like customer satisfaction surveys or general opinions. Let's practice this useful structure. Repeat after me. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the pain? Now try. On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with the service? Let's review the vocabulary from this final conversation. We had appointment, meaning a scheduled meeting, often with a doctor or professional. We had file, referring to a collection of records or information about a person, in this case, medical records. We had nagging, which we already discussed, meaning persistent and bothersome. And we had blood pressure, which refers to the force of blood pushing against the walls of your blood vessels, a common measurement taken during medical checkups. Let's repeat these together. Repeat after me. Appointment. Repeat after me. File. Repeat after me. Nagging. Repeat after me. Blood pressure. Now, for our very last set of comprehension questions today. Question number 1. What time is Kevin's appointment? Think for a moment. The answer is 2:30. Question number 2. What piece of information has changed since Kevin's last visit? Take a second. The answer is his address, because he recently moved. Question number 3. How long has Kevin been experiencing back pain? Think carefully. The answer is about 2 weeks. And question number 4. How does Kevin rate his pain on a scale of 1 to 10? One final moment to think. The answer is a 4, though he mentions it gets worse throughout the day. Fantastic work. That officially brings us to the end of all 8 conversations for today's lesson. I know that was a lot of material. 8 full conversations covering travel, work, and daily life situations. But I truly believe that this kind of varied, Realistic practice is exactly what helps intermediate learners break through to the next level. Real English isn't just grammar rules and vocabulary lists. It's the natural rhythm of how people actually speak to each other. The small, polite phrases, the casual expressions, the way questions are softened, and the way information flows naturally from one person to another in a real conversation. Every single phrase we practice today, from "excuse me," "could you help me," all the way to "on a scale of 1 to 10," is something you will hear again and again in real English-speaking environments. So the more comfortable you become with these patterns, the more confident you'll feel using English in your own life. Now, before we wrap up completely, let's take just a few minutes to review everything we've covered today, because repetition and review are absolutely essential for building long-term fluency. Throughout this lesson, we covered 6 full conversations, 2 about travel, 2 about work, and 2 about daily life. In our travel section, we practiced useful phrases like, "Could you help me?" "Are you looking to?" "If you'd rather," and expressions describing time and distance like a 10-minute walk. We also practiced polite requests like, "I was hoping to," and "Could I get?" In our work section, we explored expressions like, "Do you have a minute?" "That's going to be tight," "Pull it off," "Set up," and "We're on it." We also practiced important interview language, including, "Why don't you tell me about yourself?" and the present perfect continuous tense, as in, "I've been working here for 3 years." And in our daily life section, we covered wonderfully natural expressions like, "Beat the heat," "Good point," "Not picky," "Come by," "Better safe than sorry," "While I have you here," "Stock up," and that explains it. Now, let's do one final round of practice together, a complete speaking drill, where I'll say a phrase from today's lesson, and I want you to repeat it back to me out loud, with confidence, as if you were really using it in that situation. This kind of rapid review drill is a fantastic way to move phrases from your passive memory, where you simply recognize them when you hear them, into your active memory, where you can actually produce them yourself in real conversations. So let's go through them one more time, a little faster this time, and really focus on your pronunciation and your intonation as you repeat each one. Repeat after me. "Excuse me. Could you help me?" Repeat after me. "Are you looking to take a taxi, a bus, or the train?" Repeat after me. "If you'd rather." Repeat after me. "It's a 10-minute walk from here." Repeat after me. "I was hoping to upgrade my room. Is that possible?" Repeat after me. "Could I get a wake-up call at 7?" Repeat after me. "Is there a gym in the hotel?" Repeat after me. "Do you have a minute to talk?" Repeat after me. "That deadline is going to be tight." Repeat after me. "Do you think we can pull it off?" Repeat after me. "Let's set up a quick call this afternoon." Repeat after me. "Don't worry. We're on it." Repeat after me. "Why don't you tell me about your background?" Repeat after me. "I've been working here for 3 years." Repeat after me. "What would you say is your biggest strength?" Repeat after me. "We increased sales by 20%. Repeat after me. "I want to take on more responsibility." Repeat after me. "Do you have any questions for me?" Let's keep going. A little further into the daily life expressions now. Repeat after me. "Are you free this weekend?" Repeat after me. "Let's leave early to beat the heat." Repeat after me. Good point. I hadn't thought of that. Repeat after me. I'm not picky. Anything is fine. Repeat after me. Why don't you come by my place around 7? Repeat after me. Let's bring an umbrella. Better safe than sorry. Repeat after me. Excuse me. I'm looking for whole wheat flour. Repeat after me. While I have you here, can I ask one more thing? Repeat after me. They have several milk alternatives here. Repeat after me. I want to stock up on canned soup. Repeat after me. That's a common mistake. Don't worry about it. Repeat after me. Oh, that explains it. Repeat after me. Would you like to add insurance coverage? Repeat after me. Everything checks out. You're all set. Repeat after me. Let's do a quick walk around first. Repeat after me. There's a 30-minute grace period. Repeat after me. Could you fill out this form, please? Repeat after me. What brings you in today? Repeat after me. I have a nagging headache today. Repeat after me. Does the pain radiate down your leg? And finally, repeat after me. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? Wonderful work. Truly. If you made it through that entire drill out loud, give yourself real credit, because that takes focus and discipline. And it's exactly the kind of active practice that separates learners who slowly improve from learners who improve quickly. I always tell our viewers this: listening comprehension and speaking fluency grow together. They support each other, and neither one develops fully on its own. If you only listen, without ever speaking the language out loud yourself, your ear will improve, but your mouth, your tongue, and your confidence will lag behind. And if you only try to speak, without enough listening input, you'll struggle to sound natural, because you won't have absorbed the rhythm, the stress patterns, and the intonation that native speakers use so automatically. That's exactly why today's lesson combined both real conversations to train your ear and repeat practice to train your voice. I also want to take a moment to talk about something I get asked constantly in the comments, which is, how often should I practice listening like this? My honest answer is, a little bit every single day is far more valuable than a long session once a week. Even 15 or 20 minutes a day, listening actively, pausing, repeating, and reviewing will build your comprehension far more effectively than a single 2-hour session on the weekend. Language learning is a lot like physical exercise. Consistency matters more than intensity. Your brain needs regular, repeated exposure to patterns in order to truly internalize them, so that eventually you don't have to think about the grammar or the vocabulary at all. You simply understand, and you simply respond, naturally and automatically. Another question I hear often is, should I use subtitles or a transcript while I practice listening? My suggestion is to use a mixed approach. First, try listening without any text at all. Just focus completely on the audio, and see how much you can understand purely by ear. This trains your listening muscles the way real conversations will. Because in real life, there are no subtitles available when someone is talking to you at the airport, or in a meeting, or at the grocery store. After that first listen, though, it can be incredibly helpful to read along with the transcript, if one is available, because this helps you connect the sounds you heard with the actual written words, which strengthens both your listening and your reading at the same time. And then, For a final pass, go back to listening only, without the text, and notice how much easier it feels the second or third time around. That improvement you feel is real progress, and it's worth celebrating. If you found today's lesson helpful, I really do encourage you to watch it again, maybe even 2 or 3 times over the next week. Listening to the same content multiple times, especially content slightly above your comfort level, is genuinely one of the most effective ways to improve your listening comprehension. Try listening once without looking at anything, just to test your understanding. Then listen a second time while reading along, if you have access to a transcript, and then, a few days later, try listening one more time, just to see how much more you understand compared to your first listen. You'll be amazed at the progress you can make with this simple technique. I also want to encourage you to practice speaking the phrases we covered today out loud, on your own, even after this video ends. Try creating your own short conversations using these expressions. For example, try writing a short dialogue between 2 friends planning a trip, using phrases like, "Are you looking to?" and "If you'd rather." Or try practicing a mock job interview with a friend, using expressions like, "Why don't you tell me about yourself?" And I've been working on. The more you actively use this language yourself, rather than just listening passively, the faster you'll become fluent. If you enjoyed this lesson, please consider giving this video a like. It really helps our channel grow and reach more English learners just like you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to English in Fluency. We upload new listening practice videos regularly, covering all kinds of real-life topics and situations. I also read every single comment, so if you have questions about anything we covered today, or if there's a specific topic or situation you'd like us to cover in a future lesson, please leave a comment below. I would genuinely love to hear from you. One more small piece of advice before we finish. Something that has genuinely helped thousands of learners I've spoken with over the years, and that's keeping a simple vocabulary notebook, or even just a notes app on your phone, where you write down new phrases as you encounter them, not just in this video, but in every English content you consume, whether that's a show, a podcast, a conversation with a coworker, or a video like this one. Don't just write the word alone, though. Write the whole phrase, in context, exactly the way we did today. Instead of writing down the single word tight, write down the deadline is going to be tight. Instead of writing down picky, write down I'm not picky. Anything is fine. This way, when you review your notes later, you're not just memorizing isolated vocabulary. You're memorizing natural, ready-to-use chunks of language. And that's a much faster path to real fluency. Try to review your notebook for just a few minutes before bed, or first thing in the morning, and you'll be amazed at how quickly these phrases start appearing naturally in your own speech, sometimes without you even realizing you're using them. I also want to remind you that making mistakes is a completely normal, healthy, and honestly necessary part of this whole process. If you tried repeating some of those phrases today, and your pronunciation didn't feel perfect, that's totally fine. That's exactly how learning works. Nobody, and I truly mean nobody, learns a new language without stumbling over words, mixing up tenses, or mispronouncing something at first. What matters is that you keep showing up, keep listening, keep repeating, and keep trying. Because every single time you do that, your brain is quietly building new connections, strengthening pathways, and slowly but surely turning effortful, conscious practice into natural, automatic fluency. I've seen it happen with so many learners over the years, and I have absolutely no doubt it can happen for you too, as long as you stay consistent. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I know there are countless ways you could have spent these past several minutes, and I truly appreciate you choosing to spend them here, working on your English with me. Keep practicing, keep listening, and remember that fluency is built one conversation at a time. I'm Alex. This has been English in Fluency, and I will see you in the next lesson. Take care, and keep up the amazing work.